Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to my Venus series. Okay, so we are on to the final episode of this series throughout Taurus season. So yeah, in today's video we are going to be looking at the self-worth of Venus in Pisces, but this video can also resonate if you happen to have the sign of Pisces ruling your second house as well. Now, before we do get started, as always, if you would like to know more information about the Venus signs, the Venus houses, the second house and the Taurus house within astrology, then I have created a Taurus season/archetype ebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a link to the ebook in the description box below so you can pick up your copy today. So with all those introductions out of the way, Venus and Pisces/Pisces ruling the second house, let's do this. Okay, so let's firstly start off by describing the second house within astrology. So the second house can provide us with an indication into how our identity and security is formed based upon the things that we attach ourselves to, whether that be money, materials, people, or our beliefs and so on. The second house as well can also be viewed as representing the stage in our lives by which we become more consciously aware of our bodies. And according to Howard Sass-Portaz, from around 6 months old we start to recognize that we have a body. However, research can also suggest that we start to become more self-aware at around 18 months old. Therefore, it is from the second house that we start to build upon who we are based upon the material world and how we essentially reflect on the material world. So you could say that the products and the items and the materials that you own, they are essentially a reflection of yourself. So for example, they can reflect things about you such as your tastes, your likes, your styles, your dislikes, all these very Phoenician things. But they can also reflect a thing or two about your financial situation as well as your skills and talents. So for an example, purchasing a toothbrush which is worth about $3 over a toothbrush which is maybe about $20, well, that's going to reflect then your financial situation perhaps. But then again, would you even be able to afford that new toothbrush if not for it being skilled within the particular job that you are working at in order to purchase that toothbrush in the first place? Ultimately, it is from the second house that we start to form our sense of self-worth or value. So what do you value? Who do you value? Do you value yourself and others? And what is your self-worth based upon and why? Essentially, this is about you going outside of yourself in order to locate what's happening within yourself. Okay, so what we notice for those of you with either of these placements, which by the way, I'm going to refer to you as Pisces throughout this video, well, we notice that finances and materials might have been provided to you in a number of different ways, okay? There could be a number of different ways in which you could apply it. But to be fair, for some of you Pisces, perhaps it was all a mystery anyway. Maybe, for example, right, you weren't really overly sure as to how your financial providers were providing for you or your family, or it just wasn't something that, you know, you paid much attention to really. Or it could have been that your financial providers were not overly paying attention to the finances. So for an example here, it could be that you were pretty well off, right? So perhaps finances were constantly being refilled, and so it was, you know, it was ever flowing in that way. And so you didn't really question, I mean, oh, how much does this cost, or what does this cost, because your financial providers were just like, yeah, you have that, you have that, you have that. Then again, it could also be that maybe times were actually really, really difficult, so perhaps your financial providers would just run through their money really quickly, or they would be really careless with their money. They would overspend, they would go overboard with their money, and so they themselves were not paying attention to how the finances were coming in and out in order to help provide security for you. You might not have questioned the financial world, but at the same time you might also have like felt maybe that there was something. So perhaps if it was that your financial providers were going through something in terms of their finances, you might have shown compassion towards them, or you might have wanted to help them in some way. Basically, the financial world for you Pisces, it can just feel a little bit directionless. Or you know what, maybe it was just that financial matters were just kept secret, right? So going back to this whole mystery thing, you just didn't really know what was going on when it came to how your financial providers provided for you. It could have actually been that your financial providers became overwhelmed by the finances, and if you went to ask them if they were okay, they might have even proclaimed to you that, oh yes, it's fine, you know, everything's fine, it's okay. But yet you could sort of sense that no, it's not okay. Basically, Pisces, things might have remained a mystery due to passive people who couldn't just say it like it was. Then again, perhaps this is what you needed to be told in order to help center you or calm you down. I mean, for some of you Pisces here, right, you might actually expect other people's possessions to automatically be your possessions as well. So that perfume, for example, that your friend owns, oh yeah Pisces, you're just gonna walk right up to that perfume bottle and spray it on yourself whilst you ask your friend, hey, can I have a spray of this? And before your friend even says yes, you're just spraying away, right? But you know, having said that, you might actually see this as you and your friend being really close in that way. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we're friends. Yeah, it makes sense that you can just have some of that perfume because that friend would do the same for you in that way, or you do the same for your friend in that way, or whatever. Yes, Pisces, it can be all about love and hearts and romance and beauty and everything else when it comes to your love language. And so even when it comes to relationships and things, you can even put on those really doughy like eyes and just, you know, look over at your partner, and your partner would just look at you and be like, oh hey, and they'll get lost in your eyes, and then you'll tell them how cute they are, and then they'll start to gush. And yeah, this love language can be really quite romantic and quite sweet. So yes, you might be that type of Pisces that proclaims to your partner or to your friends that what's theirs is yours, and so it's like, we're connected and we're all one anyway. All whilst the partner's bank account is draining out. Though still Pisces, it could be here that when it came to materials and finances, you just didn't really think of it so much due to it being provided to you just unknowingly. You might have this understanding of, well, what belongs to you belongs to others as well. This in itself, it might have been formed due to a financial provider possessing a similar attitude in that way, right? Where people were very sharing and receiving and giving, you know, within the financial world. And so you perhaps have that similar sort of attitude when it comes to finances. But still, even on that note, you might actually attract people into your life with this similar type of attitude as well. So partners and business associates, for example. So just going with that, Pisces, I would recommend when it comes to signing contracts and agreements and things, just to be aware really of what you're signing, you know, because you can have the tendency of just going blindly into things. You may not look at the details, you may overlook some things, you may just be blinded by, even when it comes to a relationship, before really trying to figure out sort of the ground rules or the boundaries you want to set within that relationship by communicating it. You can just get swept away within that emotional pool of like, oh, I really, really like you, and you go by that strong, strong feeling. So it's just really becoming aware of some things that are actually staring you right in the face in reality, but you're not seeing it. You're maybe idealizing it, or you're overlooking it because of how strongly you feel. However, there can also be some of you Pisces out there who maybe when it comes to finances and materials and accumulating them, you maybe feel a little bit of guilt or unworthiness surrounding these things. So for example, maybe a financial provider would tell you how no good you were for not being able to, I don't know, secure your first job. Or maybe you would idealize a particular financial provider and aspire to be like them, but it seemed like the more you tried, the more you were just being pushed back. But yet, you would still hold on. You would still keep reaching. But going from that here, Pisces, yes, it might be that you idealize finances and materials overall. And, you know, this can be good in a way. I mean, it could perhaps suggest that you're able to admire and appreciate the materials that you own and also the people that you have in your life. But at the same time, please be careful of your tendency of loving everybody in your sight, or feeling like you need to give attention to anybody who gives you attention sometimes. Yes, you may indeed really appreciate it if somebody, for example, gives you a compliment, but then the next thing you know, your buddies, your friends, whilst your partner is just sitting there glaring at you, just like, yeah, Pisces, yeah, you wanna be friends with them? Alright. Or you might be the type of Pisces who stays in a relationship with someone who you know is not good for you. You Pisces just might perform certain acts that you acknowledge as harmless acts, but yet your partner's idea of love and relationship doesn't match up to yours. And this is why it's really important for you to be able to communicate with the partner the certain boundaries that you want to set, rather than being, you know, how you can be a little bit passive, a little bit shy. But you can also be the type of Pisces who just sort of goes with the flow in a relationship. So you'll have this, we'll just see how it goes, you know? We'll just see how it goes, baby, we'll see how it goes, that type of approach. And also, you might place more emphasis on a partner making the decisions rather than you. So it's like, you might not be very aware, or you may not want to make a decision on your relationship with the partner, so you may just depend on the partner to make the decision. But then it's like, what do you want, Pisces? Maybe what you want is what the partner wants. Then again, if you do feel like you're in a pretty safe and secure environment, you may feel more comfortable expressing yourself to a partner of like, this is what I want from this relationship. You basically could just be quite giving of your resources and of your time, but you can also be an absorber, you know, so to absorb other people's resources and time as well. Therefore, Pisces, when it does come to your self-worth, you are learning a thing or two as to how this process really impacts your self-worth. So those times whenever you're purchasing new items, for an example, is it that you can be a little bit impractical in your calculations? Can you go a little bit overboard yourself? Of course, there's no judgment here, Pisces. At the end of the day, you're going to do what you're going to do. But in a practical sense, if you are with a partner, for example, you're saving for something together, right? You're saving for this material item together in that way. And then you go and you carelessly spend a lot of money, a large amount of money, then what's going to come with that are consequences. So it's just being aware as to how your spending habits can impact others, if it is that you've made a sort of agreement with someone else where you've brought them into the picture. Now, of course, this is you, Pisces, and so anything can be possible. I mean, who knows? Maybe you will get a new job, or maybe a friend will help you out in terms of finances, or maybe there's another strategy, there's another approach, there's another door that opens eventually. But if you want something or desire something within the material world, whilst yes, the universe is abundant, the actions that you make day to day also have an impact as well. You just might be the type of Pisces who will blow all your money, possibly leaving you in a ditch somewhere with no money and no way of getting home. Yes, you may use money to escape the world or yourself, and you might even spend money on drugs and on alcohol. And so, in a practical sense, when it comes to your self-worth, it's being aware of this, because the thing is that, you know, some people may suggest that self-worth isn't really connected with the physical body, but I am under the impression, I have the opinion that yes, our self-worth can also be found within our physical appearance and our physical body as well. Yes, we shouldn't completely, you know, have all of our self-worth based upon how we look, and because that can be quite superficial in that regard. But when it comes to keeping your body healthy and functioning well, where you're not getting sick a lot or ill a lot, or where you're able to actually function properly on a day-to-day basis, that's really important. And so with that in mind, Pisces, maybe you're learning a thing or two when it comes to your own self-worth in correlation with your body. So if you decide here for this example, Pisces, that you want to fill yourself up with loads of substances every weekend, then yeah, it's just being aware of the implications that that can have on yourself. With that in mind, then, when it comes to your self-worth, it is essentially about you accepting the situation for what it is. Just accept that, oh flip, that happened, okay, I accept this. But rather than possibly victimizing yourself or just sort of saying, oh, I'm never gonna get out of this situation, it's about you accepting that, yeah, that happened, but you can also make a change. You can decide for yourself that you want to turn things around, that you don't want to do that anymore, or that you've decided, actually, do you know what, I value myself enough that I want to give that thing up and I want to try something else. So yeah, it's just really being aware of the dangers that can come with how you provide, really how you provide for yourself, really physically. Though still, when it does come to these more spiritual side of things here as well, you might really value connecting with spirit, so you might perform different spiritual regimes and routines and things like that, or you might earn money through the likes of painting, art, modeling, acting, or you might even spend your money and your finances on things like crystals and possibly healing books. Perhaps you're the type of Pisces who really values spiritual practices that can just help center you and bring you peace and clarity. Then again, perhaps you are not really appreciative towards your own skills and talents. So, for example, when it comes to your own empathy and sympathy towards others, you might not see this as one of your strengths or as one of your skills or your talents. You know, this could be that maybe one of your financial providers, they didn't really encourage these skills and talents within you. But you know, whatever way this might have played out, Pisces, you are learning how to utilize your unrealistic approach towards the material world and your relationships. So to share with others with compassion, where you create peace and harmony with others, but at the same time being aware of your boundaries and your limitations and your energy. Ultimately, Pisces, this is about you being both spiritually purposeful and also practical about the situation. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the self-worth of Venus in Pisces / Pisces ruling the second house. Now, if you do happen to have any of these placements, I would like to hear from you in the comment section to know what you thought of the video, but also to share your own experiences as well, because there's not overly a lot of information that exists out there when it comes to self-worth in astrology. So with all that being said then, thank you so much, guys. We have reached the final episode, and so this is the series complete, the Venus series. So thank you for keeping up with this series. If you did, if you watched one video, if you watched all of them, I really appreciate your support, and I really hope that you learned a great deal from these videos. So yes, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing then, and I will be back Gemini season videos very, very soon. Bye!